Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my videos. Manchester United face a tough transfer window because Man United face competition for key transfer targets. Now I think there's a very good chance we'll get the players that we want in the summer, because we've just recently appointed John Murtough as our new director of football. He's our first ever director of football. So in that aspect, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will get more backing. I'm very delighted that we've got a director of football in, because I said that's one of the structural changes that we need at the club, and we was in for a director of football for a while. And John Murtough, you know, he knows the culture of the club because he has been at Man United for 7 years. But like I say, there has been quite a lot of players on our agenda. Now, Rafael Varan, he's on our agenda. According to recent narratives, we've been handed a transfer boost in our pursuit of Rafael Varan, because Rafael Varan has decided that he wants to come to the Premier League in the summer. Back in 2018, Woodward was prepared to sanction a £100 million move for Rafael Varan. Apparently now he's valued at around £61 million, but OK Dairo said last month that Real Madrid had reduced their asking price for Rafael Varan to £43 million. And talks over extending his contract have not settled. Now there's a few clubs that are in for Rafael Varan. I'd certainly take him at Manchester United because he'd go very well alongside Harry Maguire in our back line. He's a world-class centre-half, he's highly experienced, he's 27 years of age. Rafael Varan has been a long-serving player at Real Madrid. He's been with them 10 years. Real Madrid paid €10 million for him from Lens back in 2011, and he's under contract with Real Madrid until 2022. A new centre-back is a priority for Man United. Sergio Ramos, he's been another centre-half on our agenda. Jules Koundé from Sevilla, he's been another centre-half on our agenda. You know, we've been in for Kalidou Koulibaly. As you all know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would love to sign Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland is our #1 transfer priority. Solskjaer said earlier on this season he was following Erling Haaland's progress, and he said before the game against Real Sociedad that he was keeping in touch with Erling Haaland. Back in December 2019, Solskjaer and Woodward went to Norway to meet up with Erling Haaland to negotiate a possible move to Man United. Solskjaer knows the player well because Solskjaer was the one that gave Erling Haaland his debut at just the age of 16 at Molde. If Dortmund sell him in the summer, they'll demand in the excess of £100 million. Next year, he is available for £68 million because that's when his release clause becomes active. But yeah, there's been a hell of a lot of clubs in for him. Minio Raiola, his agent, said a few weeks ago that there's 6 Premier League clubs that can afford Erling Haaland. But since his arrival at Dortmund, he has been a revelation. You know, Dortmund paid just £17 million for him. and he's got a contract with Dortmund until 2024. Now, Jaden Sancho, you know, there is a chance that we'll sign him in the summer. The last time I read up regarding Jaden Sancho, it says we was preparing a £50 million bid. Sports Build said earlier on this season that we're still very interested in signing Jaden Sancho. But the Athletic said different. They said we paused our transfer pursuit of Jaden Sancho due to Mason Greenwood's progress. And Borussia Dortmund's CEO made an admission saying Sancho, Haaland and more Dortmund stars could be sold to avoid financial crisis. Now, earlier on this season, Dortmund reduced their asking price for Sancho to £88 million, so they'd knocked £20 million off because last summer, Borussia Dortmund's valuation was £108 million. But a few times last summer it said the personal terms had been agreed and the agent fees had been agreed and even a contract had been agreed, but we couldn't come to an agreement on an actual fee. And Dortmund made it clear to us last summer that we had until the 10th of August to sign the player. We obviously missed out on that deadline, so Sancho remained at Dortmund. But Fabrizio Romano, who's a very reliable Italian journalist, and he's close to Man United, he's spoken a lot about the Jaden Sancho transfer saga, and so too was Bild's Christian Falk. Analysing the vast majority of Sancho's career, he's been very, very consistent. This is his 4th season at Dortmund. Dortmund paid just £8 million for him from Man City back in 2017. Sancho's got a contract with the club until 2023. And we was willing to offer him that number 7 shirt. I think we have been looking at a couple of alternatives to Jaden Sancho. But in the summer, I'm expecting us to make around 3 or 4 signings. Solskjaer said earlier on this season he's only interested in bringing in players that will be a perfect fit for the club. Solskjaer said as well we may not do business as usual due to the coronavirus pandemic. But Solskjaer does deserve more backing at the club, and he hasn't been backed enough so far in the transfer windows he has endured. So far, Solskjaer's endured 4 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager, and he's spent around £260 million. Obviously, he's brought players like Daniel James, and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire in. Also brought Bruno.
You wonder how on wide is it?
What?
The wind. It's that fucking wind, man. Look like that outside.
Alright.
You don't need your window wide because it's too fucking windy. Keep an eye on the AC.
Yeah. Yeah, so also brought Bruno Fernandez in and Odi Nagalo in. And also brought the likes of Donny Van Der Beek in, Alex Telles, Edison Cavani, Facundo Palestri and Amad Diallo Traore. But he hasn't got all the players that he wanted to recommend in as yet. But Woodward has come out several times to support Solskjaer, and he did say towards the end of last year that he will back him with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. Even enjoying them very bad periods, you know, Woodward come out and assured that Solskjaer's job was safe. The board has been one of the biggest problems at the club for several years, reflecting how poor our recruitment policy's been. We've also overpaid for players, and none of the managers have been backed enough. But Woodward recently did a statement saying that the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. So in that aspect, he is backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Now, there is good players at Manchester United. And these players that are really, really improving. You know, Dean Henderson, he's done well in the games he's played in this season. I think Dean Henderson is now reliable enough to become our number one because he has got that experience behind him. He endured 2 successful loans with Sheffield United. Don't forget, before the start of this season, Dean Henderson signed a 6-year contract with the club, so he committed his future with Man United. Dean Henderson's going to get a run of games now anyway because De Gea's not available at the moment due to personal reasons. Luke Shaw, he's been player of the season by far. You know, Luke Shaw has showed very good attacking intent. He's made some good overlapping runs. He's got into good positions. His crossing's been good. And defensively, Luke Shaw's been very good. You know, Luke Shaw still remains our first choice left back despite the arrival of Alex Telles last summer. Because I thought when we got Alex Telles he was going to be our first choice left back. But Telles has done well in some of the games he's played and he can get forward well. But he doesn't get forward as well as Luke Shaw does, let's be honest. Luke Shaw's had a good career at Man United apart from his injuries. Luke Shaw's been at the club over 6 years. And Wan-Bissaka, I think some aspects of his game have improved because there has been some games this season where Wan-Bissaka has showed more attacking intent. His crossing's been quite good. Defensively, he's been superb. But sometimes he can be poor on Wan-Bissaka where he lacks attacking intent. He gets caught out far too many times. Like I updated you this morning, it said we are now in search for a new right back to provide competition for Wan-Bissaka. Because Wan-Bissaka has been our number one choice since his arrival from Crystal Palace. We got Wan-Bissaka in a deal worth £50 million. But he's the only recognised right back, is Wan-Bissaka. Eric Bailly, I've been very, very impressed with him in the games he's played in. And Eric Bailly and Harry Maguire do complement each other in our back line. But my element of concern about Bailly is too injury prone, so in that aspect he is a liability. He recently said we have held talks over getting him a new deal. Harry Maguire, he can perform well in some games. You know, when he does perform well, he shows the ability to play out from the back. He can intercept the ball well. He can make some good headed clearances. He can be good from set pieces. But he's enjoyed poor games. Harry Maguire wasn't worth the £80 million that we got him for. He's the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment. Fred, he's really, really improving. You know, when Fred plays well, he gets forward well. He breaks up the play well. You know, he can pass the ball well. Fred's been at the club now a few years. We got Fred in a deal worth £52 million from Shakhtar Donetsk. Got to say, during his time in Ukraine, he was a world-class player. McTominay, he's a decent player and he's enjoyed good games this season. McTominay's not at the level I was wanting to be at as yet. But I think he can emulate to that level, so I do have a lot of faith in him. Just after the first lockdown last year, McTominay signed a 5-year contract, so he committed his future with the club. Donny Van Der Beek is also a good player when he plays, and he seldom plays. You know, most of Donny Van Der Beek's appearances have come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in the league. He's actually out with a muscular problem at the moment. Earlier on this season, Solskjaer made an admission saying that Van Der Beek is unhappy at the club due to his lack of game time, but actually Solskjaer promised him more game time at the club. We need to use him more. He's a good player. You know, he can play in 3 different roles, so he's versatile, and we got him in a deal worth £40 million. Paid 35 million up front and there was 5 million in add-ons. Van Der Beek's got a contract with the club until 2025. ESPN said back in January that we rejected several loan offers for Donny Van Der Beek. We was reluctant to let him go. Paul Pogba, we was getting the best out of him before he got this thigh injury. You know, the last game Paul Pogba played was the 3-3 draw with Everton. But he has been a big miss because we do lack creativity in that midfield without Paul Pogba. We are too defensive. Solskjaer set a new Paul Pogba return date the other week and he said he's hopeful that Pogba will return before the March international break. Earlier on this season, Pogba had an ankle injury and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. So, sustained a few injuries now at Man United. I was reading narratives the other week and it actually said Paul Pogba is open to staying at Man United after making a transfer U-turn and he's willing to discuss a new contract. Earlier on this season, Solskjaer suggested he could sign a new contract because he revealed that he's happy at the club. Mini Oriola, Pogba's agent, you know, he's desperate to get his client out of the club. He said earlier on this season that he's got no intentions of destabilising his client's season at Man United. And he also made an admission saying that he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer to avoid offence. Mini Oriola made an announcement back in December regarding Paul Pogba and Solskjaer was furious with Mini Oriola's announcement. But he has had a long-running transfer saga. He's been relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid. He's been linked to a move to PSG and there's been narratives of him possibly going back to Juventus. He said a few weeks ago we revealed our asking price for Paul Pogba and it was £100 million. We won't get £100 million if we sell him in the summer. I think we can get from between £60 to £70 million. And John Murtough, our new director of football, says Paul Pogba's future needs addressing. Bruno Fernandez. He's an exceptional player. He's our best player and he's the best signing we have made since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. Because he's made the difference in the team. Yes, Solskjaer, he's ready to ban Bruno Fernandez from international duty. In most of Bruno Fernandez's games at Man United, he has been very, very consistent. But there's also been a few games where he has looked off the pace. So at some point, you've probably got to say, yeah, he needs a rest. But earlier on this season, Fernandez denied that he needed a rest because he wants to help the club win trophies. Bruno Fernandez has won Player of the Month now quite a few times, reflecting on his good performances. Fernandez, don't forget, said on his 12-month anniversary that he's planning on spending many years at Man United. Now, recent reports have said that Bruno Fernandez is refusing to sign a new contract until he has assurances over the club's transfer plans. And then when he's got the assurances over the club's transfer plans, he will decide whether he's going to sign this new contract. He says we are willing to offer Bruno Fernandez's double Bruno Fernandez's wages to £200,000 a week. Bruno Fernandez's current contract expires in 2025. There's an option to extend for a further year. We initially paid £47 million for him, but the overall cost with add-ons is just over £67 million. Fernandez predominantly plays as a number 10. You know, Mason Greenwood, I've been very, very impressed with him since he broke into our first team squad. He made his senior debut in 2019. Greenwood's been a United player since the age of 7. He's made 80-odd first-team appearances for us. Earlier on this season, Mason Greenwood signed a new 4-year contract with the club. He deserved a new contract reflecting on his good performances. Solskjaer's been defending him a lot this season. Earlier on this season, didn't really have much of a perception on Greenwood because he was in and out of the team. At the start of this season, we're giving that number 11 shirt. Marcus Rashford, he's a very, very good player. He's one of our best players, is Rashford. You know, he has endured his bad periods. We just need to keep Marcus Rashford out wide on the left because that's where he's more effective. But sometimes we put him on the right-hand side, and before we've put him centrally. Rashford is out at the moment with an ankle injury. He sustained that in our 2-0 win against Man City. He did have the scan on his ankle. It turned out that there was no ligament damage on his ankle. It was just bruised and swollen. But despite that, he is a doubt for this evening's game against AC Milan. But Rashford has been part of the club for several years. He's been a United player since the age of 7 and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. And Edison Cavani, you know, he's made a fantastic impact since he's come in. And I've said, didn't I, you know, our current squad is good enough to finish at least in the top 4. Now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is here to stay. I think Man United are set to hand him a new 3-year contract. Earlier on this season, he said that Solskjaer's future was in doubt because he admitted that nobody had spoke to him regarding a new contract. But he said we'll wait until the end of the season to begin contract talks with Solskjaer. Solskjaer is into the final 18 months of his current contract. You can probably say he does deserve a new contract, reflects on the progress he's made. Like I've said before, I don't think Solskjaer is the long-term manager for Man United, but I think he does deserve at least another season at the football club. This is his second full season at the moment. So next season will be his third full season. If we can finish second this season and win a trophy, I'll say that represents a good season for Man United and Solskjaer, and that gives us something to build on going on into next season. I've said to you, Solskjaer must win a trophy at Man United to avoid the sack, because he's not yet won a trophy, Solskjaer, and he's been Man United manager over 2 years, and we haven't won a trophy since 2017, and that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. A club of our stature need to be winning trophies. The Europa League is a chance of a trophy, and the FA Cup is a chance of a trophy. We know that top 4 is our aim in the league, because we know we're not going to win the Premier League title, and I can almost assure we will finish in the top 4. Reflecting on that win against Man City recently. That was a very, very good win against Man City, you know, beating them 2-0. Wasn't only a good result, it was a good performance as well. And I love the way that Solskjaer approached that game, because I wasn't expecting him to approach the game the way he did. He showed tactical flexibility. We ended Man City's 21-match winning run, and we are unbeaten in our last 22 Premier League away games. But top 4 is not guaranteed yet. But at one point, we was in the title race. You know, at one point, we was top of the Premier League. But obviously, we dropped too many points in games. This is why we are no longer top. I don't see us winning the title under Solskjaer. I think we'll win another title at some point, but I don't know when. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013, so we haven't won it now for like 8 years. But reflecting how long Solskjaer's been at the football club, he has gained some managerial experience. You know, he's learnt quite a bit on the job, which is good. I've given you my two big concerns about Ole. That's his decision making, because in a lot of his games at Man United, he's been tactically naive. But in some, he's showed tactical flexibility. And he hasn't got a proven pedigree as a manager, so that is my other concern. A lot of United fans did say we made a mistake giving him the job. Or we give him the job too early. Maybe we should have waited until the end of that season to decide on whether to give him the job. We give Solskjaer the job permanently, reflecting on what he did as the interim manager, because he won 14 games out of 19 in all competitions. But we've enjoyed very, very good periods under Ole where we have seen consistency. There's been some games in them good periods where he's got the best out of the team. You know, he's improved certain players. You know, we've also enjoyed very, very bad periods as well where you can turn around and say Solskjaer was lucky not to be sacked. Like I've said so many times before, Arbord have got a soft stance on Ole with him being a club legend. Disregarding him being a club legend, Arbord had been a lot more ruthless on him during them bad periods. You've probably got to say that Ole is the best manager since Ferguson. You know, we've got to credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in quite a few aspects. You know, looks like we're going to get in the top 4 this season. You know, we're second in the league. At one point, he got us top of the league for the first time in like 7.5 years. We're in the FA Cup quarter-final. We're in the Europa League last 16. You know, we got to the EFL Cup semi-final this season. We've got a fantastic away record in the Premier League. You know, Solskjaer did well last season in his first full season at the club. Guided us to 3 semi-finals, got us 3rd and got us Champions League qualification. You know, we've been in 4 semi-finals so far under Ole. And if we do beat Leicester in the FA Cup quarters, we will be in another semi-final. So that'll be 5 semi-finals under Solskjaer. But we want to get to our first actual final under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. And like I said, you know, he has got rid of a lot of players since he got recommended in. You know, a few players left in the January transfer window. We saw Jesse Lingard go out on loan to West Ham. We saw Tiedemann Mengi go out on loan. Facundo Pellistri go out on loan. Odin Ighalo said his farewells to the club. Rojo left the club. And Timothy Fosu-Mensah left the club. And the other transfer windows, we've let a lot of other players go. Obviously, we've seen Young leave the club, Valencia leave the club, Darmian leave the club, Smalling leave the club. We saw Angel Gomez leave the club. Ander Herrera left the club, Fellaini left the club, Sanchez left the club, Lukaku left the club. We've also loaned quite a few players out. And like I said, I think more players are going to leave Man United in the summer transfer window. So we sell players in the summer, will generate money, and that'll help us with our rebuilding process. You know, Cavani could be leaving in the summer. Mata could be leaving in the summer. We could offload Matic this summer. Do you think Romero will go? I want Jones to leave the club. You know, Pogba could still leave in the summer. You know, do you think we should sell Martial in the summer? A lot of United fans have said we should. You know, should we offload Lindelof in the summer? And De Gea, you know, there's a good chance we'll offload him. So we'll make quite a lot of money there. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager since Ferguson. 3 managers have been sacked since Ferguson. That was David Moyes, sacked him after 10 months, sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, and we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years. So we have had different managers with different philosophies. Mistakes have been made since Ferguson retired. You know, that's one of the main explanations why we haven't been as consistent as we'd like to have been. But like I said, we haven't been the same since Ferguson retired. And like I've said so many times before, no one's going to do what Ferguson did, and no one's going to last as long as Ferguson did. Ferguson endured a 27-year tenure at Man United, won 30-odd trophies, so reflecting on that, he brought success to the club. But Ferguson didn't settle in straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at Man United. You know, before Ferguson, we was inconsistent. We spent a lot of money. We spent over £1 billion on players in the last 7.5, 8 years. And we've overpaid for players in recent years. We'll be on for the match reaction tonight for the Milan game. If it's not tonight, it will be tomorrow morning, but it'll be likelier tonight than in the morning. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.